I went to the ballpark on June 12th, which was a day game against the Nationals. And you know me, John, I try to go with an idea or two just in case something doesn't happen in the game. You try to execute it beforehand. And that was a point where Blackburn had returned to the rotation, pitched well. They had six starters going well. Manaea was pretty close to coming back, Montas right behind him. And my thing was, how are they going to turn eight starters into five? And then I got told by a couple of people who I called about this that Blackburn was actually available if they wanted. And we posted a column in about a news story in about the fourth inning of that game. In the sixth inning, Kodai Senga, covering first base, blew out his hamstring. So that story lasted as relevant for about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. And the Mets pitching in particular, nothing has worked for the last 2+ weeks. But the pitching in particular, John, has gone bad. Injuries, Canning, McGill, Senga, setback for Manaea. And the guys who have pitched have not pitched well from the starters and then overburning the bullpens with short starts. You know, the game we play, me and you at the MLB Network with Brian Kenny, concern, panic, or doom. Why don't I ask, what's your level of Mets now as we begin the month where they have to decide what are they doing at the deadline?
Well, we're certainly concerned. I think we're bordering on panic at this point. You mentioned June 13th. I do want to point out that was Friday the 13th,
13th, yeah.
but that's not the reason they went south, nor is it the fact that they honored Pride Day, which I'm getting all sorts of tweets about, that they put up a flag of a pride flag instead of the American flag. It's not that. It's not that I went for a walk with Frank uh, Frank Walks, Frank the Tank. It's none of that. They've regressed. You could say they regressed to the mean. They regressed to what's normal, but it isn't normal to be the best team in baseball with a 45-24 record, and since then be the worst with 3-13. Is it possible? Yeah. I mean, look, in 2017, the Dodgers were something like 90-30 something, and they lost 16 out of 17. And the Yankees were terrible at the end of 2000. Both teams made the World Series. It is a long season, as they say. That's baseball, Susan. Stuff happens, but it is worrisome when you're talking about the pitching staff and the way they've been decimated by injury, and then a turn in performance. I mean, Peterson was all-star worthy up until his last two starts. Unfortunately, the injuries, McGill, Canning, Senga, and you mentioned Manaea was close to coming back when you wrote that story. He's still close to coming back,
Yeah,
right? Still
yeah.
close. I mean, it's been quite eye-opening and pretty shocking. Steve Cohen said it on Twitter, right? He never expected this. I really don't think anybody expected it, although people on Twitter are telling me they expected it. Those are
Yeah.
mostly Yankee fans, I think.
No, those are super geniuses. Just to put a finer point on it, right, is through the games of June 12th, they were first in total ERA, first in starter ERA, and second in relief ERA, all 289 or less. In the 16 games since, their last 641 in total ERA, last in starter ERA 622, and 29 659 in reliever ERA. I mean, it has been a universal problem, caused by injury, caused, you mentioned Peterson. Blackburn, after one good spot start against the Dodgers, hasn't been good since then. Montas, one good, one bad. The one guy who's kind of going good is Holmes, and he's already 15 innings beyond whatever he's thrown in his life. So you got to keep an eye on him. As to your point, Manaea is still sitting out there now with loose bodies in his elbow. And I think the cascade into their bullpen is like we've seen Brazaban take a big step back, Reed Garrett take a big step back. They kind of are desperate to win, so you want to use your best relievers. On the other hand, we're in this situation. So it leads to me, John, obviously say whatever you want about what I just offered, but do you think that I know the trade deadline doesn't really start until after the draft, which is the 14th and the 13th and the 14th of July. There's at least six starters, six sellers, maybe seven if you count the Orioles. Does David Stearns have to get pushy, aggressive, creative, and just say, I got to find some arms
He's
now?
not.
Otherwise, in the next 2 weeks, things could get bleak.
He's not the pushy type. I don't see that from him. He's not giving up the big time prospects for a short term solution. That isn't him. I guess we shouldn't be shocked about the bullpen. The starters, while performing fantastically, did not go long, even when they were doing well. And they were forced to use all their good relievers, Stanek and Garrett and Brazaban, a lot, and they all look a little bit worn down. They have some replacements available, right? Budo, Nunez, a couple guys. Diaz has been really good all along. It's basically been Diaz and Soto carrying the team, and you can't win with two guys, one being the closer carrying your team. Um, I just don't see it happening. I think what we see and what they'll do is that rotation of lefty relievers that they've been throwing out there. They might have now a rotation of regular relievers or other starters that they throw in there. Yeah, we wouldn't have thought that they'd be at a deficit of starters because they did have very good depth in the rotation at one point. It is not the case now, and it is quite worrisome.